Welcome, you curious mind, to a deep dive into the cosmic tapestry. Today, we're taking a unique shortcut, really, to becoming truly well-informed about something ancient, beautiful, and utterly captivating: constellations. Our guide for this stellar journey is the Grand Atlas of Constellations, a magnificent source, it really is, that lays out the heavens in incredible detail. Our mission, basically, is to extract its most potent insights, give you the essential nuggets of knowledge without you getting lost in the dizzying vastness of space.
Yeah, it's remarkable how the atlas transforms what looks like, a chaotic night sky into such an organized, understandable structure. We're talking about all 88 official constellations, and we'll be exploring how they're grouped, sure, but maybe more importantly, what makes each of these celestial patterns uniquely significant. And crucially, how humans throughout history actually made sense of them.
That really is the fundamental question, isn't it? How did ancient cultures, without our modern tools, impose order on that celestial chaos? And the Atlas shows us they did it through incredible storytelling, but also really keen observation. So get ready for some surprising facts and some genuine aha moments as we explore the stories, the science, and the sheer wonder of the stars above.
Okay, let's unpack this. Right, we're kicking off our stellar tour with the first major category from the atlas, zodiac constellations. There are 12 of them, and they are absolutely central to how humans understood the sky because they lie along the ecliptic. Now, for anyone wondering, the ecliptic is essentially, well, it's the sun's apparent path across our sky throughout the year. It kind of marks the backdrop where the planets also seem to move.
Exactly. And what's truly striking here, I think, is the profound influence these zodiac constellations have had on culture, on timekeeping, even early agriculture, for millennia. Understanding their position was absolutely foundational for ancient civilizations, predicting seasons, charting the passage of time, that sort of thing. Foundational is the right word. Let's orbit around just a few examples from this vital group. Take Aries, the ram. It's deeply linked to the golden ram from Greek mythology, okay? But more than that, for ages, its appearance heralded spring, a kind of celestial clock-marking rebirth.
Mhm. And then there's Taurus, the bull. Now, this isn't just Zeus in disguise. It's home to two of the sky's most famous open star clusters. You've got the Pleiades, often called the Seven Sisters. You can usually spot them like a tiny shimmering dipper shape.
Mm,
And the Hyades, that V-shaped cluster forming the bull's face. Both are visible to the naked eye, and they've captivated sky watchers for thousands of years.
right, just stunning. And moving on, Gemini, the twins. Named for Castor and Pollux, the twin brothers from Greek myth. Pretty straightforward. Then there's Cancer, the crab. It's a notoriously faint constellation, apparently sent by Hera to distract Hercules. Its faintness actually kind of adds to its mystique, maybe, hinting at its sort of nagging role in the myth, not some grand, obvious fight.
Precisely. And then in contrast, you have Leo, the lion, representing the Nemean lion, slain by Hercules. Very recognizable, that distinctive sickle shape. It
Yeah.
really looks powerful, like the beast it represents. A bold one.
Absolutely. And Virgo the maiden, often associated with the goddess of harvest, she holds the title for being the largest of all the zodiac constellations, sprawls across the sky. Then we have Sagittarius, the archer, a centaur with a bow, and this one holds a truly mind-boggling secret. It points directly towards the galactic center.
Yeah, the galactic center. And what makes that so mind-boggling isn't just, like, its location, but the fact that it's home to Sagittarius A. That's a supermassive black hole, a gravitational titan, basically, that influences the spin and structure of our entire Milky Way galaxy. So when you look at Sagittarius, you're literally gazing towards the gravitational heart of our galaxy.
Wow. That really puts things into perspective. Finally, there's Pisces, the fish, representing Aphrodite and Eros turning into fish to escape a monster, a tale of quick transformation, escape. So that's just a glimpse, really, into the zodiac's rich tapestry. But what about the stars that, literally showed ancient mariners the way home? Moving on from the zodiac, the Atlas introduces us to a group it calls the major northern constellations. These are stars you're probably much more likely to recognize if you've done any stargazing from, the northern hemisphere.
Hmm. And the key insight here is the profound practical application. Historically, for navigation, that was huge. Many of them contain remarkably bright stars or easily recognizable star patterns, asterisms we call them, that served as vital, unchanging signposts in the vast sky.
Exactly. They weren't just pretty pictures. They were like humanity's first GPS, right?
Right.
For instance, Ursa Major, the Great Bear, it's not just famous for its shape, it contains the Big Dipper and the pointer stars in the Dipper, essential tools. They guide you directly to Polaris, the North Star, which is nestled in Ursa Minor, the Little Bear.
It's remarkable how steadfast Polaris is. It barely moves all night. An invaluable beacon for finding north for, well, thousands of years.
Then we have Cassiopeia the Queen, punished for vanity,
Mm.
easily recognized by its distinct W or M shape, depending on the season, and how you're looking at it. And Draco, the dragon, a long, winding constellation. It twists majestically between Ursa Major and Ursa Minor. Kind of cool.
And if you're looking for bright stars, Lyra represents Orpheus's lyre, contains the brilliant star Vega, one of the brightest stars you can see, actually. It forms part of the Summer Triangle, another famous asterism people look for.
Ah, yes, the Summer Triangle. And speaking of recognizable shapes, Cygnus, the swan, also popularly known as the Northern Cross because of its distinct shape, very clear. And then there's Andromeda, the chained princess in the myth, famously home to the Andromeda Galaxy. And this isn't just some distant blur, it's our cosmic next-door neighbor, a colossal spiral galaxy.
Hurtling towards us.
Exactly. Hurtling towards us on a collision course billions of years from now. That's a truly humbling thought.
Yes, and it's actually one of the few galaxies you can see with the naked eye from really dark skies. Just looks like a faint smudge, but it contains over 1 trillion stars. Incredible.
A trillion stars, wow. And finally, Pegasus, the winged horse, features the Great Square of Pegasus, a prominent asterism that's a fantastic starting point for finding other constellations nearby. Okay, our next category, according to the Atlas, is other well-known constellations. These might be less defined by, say, their precise location or a specific astrological purpose, but they are still quite prominent. And they hold incredibly rich stories and scientific significance, too.
Yeah, and this brings up an important question, I think. Why do some constellations achieve this kind of universal recognition? Beyond just practical uses, often it's due to their sheer brightness or truly distinctive shapes, or maybe those incredibly profound and enduring myths that just resonate across cultures.
Case in point, Orion, the hunter. It's undeniably one of the most prominent, most easily recognizable constellations. Dominates the winter skies for many of us. I mean, who hasn't looked up and instantly spotted Orion's belt? It's just there.
Orion is incredible. It's not just its shape, but the sheer number of bright stars and nebulae it contains. The Orion Nebula itself is spectacular. And trailing behind Orion is Canis Major, the great dog of Orion, which contains Sirius, not just a bright star, but the brightest star in our entire night sky. Its dazzling presence, it's been noted by cultures worldwide for millennia. Hard to miss Sirius.
That's amazing. Then we also have Bootes, the herdsman, contains the bright star Arcturus, another really prominent star in the northern hemisphere, Corona Borealis, the northern crown, easily known for its distinctive semicircular shape, like a sparkling tiara in the sky. Very pretty.
And for something a bit more delicate, maybe, there's Delphinus, a charmingly small, dolphin-shaped constellation. Almost looks like it's leaping out of the celestial waters.
Indeed, it's quite endearing. And speaking of small, Equuleus, the little horse, holds the distinction of being the second smallest constellation in the entire sky. Tiny. Then finally, Coma Berenices, named after Queen Berenice's hair, which she famously sacrificed, a truly unique and rather, well, sweet origin story. Brings a human touch to the stars.
Okay, now let's flip our perspective entirely. Let's head south to the southern hemisphere constellations. These are often unfamiliar to those of us, up north, but they hold incredible celestial wonders and a completely different set of guiding stars.
Right, and when we place this in the broader context, say, of human exploration, these constellations were absolutely vital for Southern Hemisphere navigators. Just like the Big Dipper and Polaris were up north, they allowed sailors to chart courses, explorers to find their way across vast oceans. Crucial stuff.
The most iconic of these is probably Crux, the Southern Cross. Much like Polaris in the north, its distinctive shape makes it an indispensable navigation tool. For anyone below the equator, it's the go-to. And what's also fascinating about many of these southern constellations is their shared history. It's quite interesting. For centuries, a significant chunk of them were actually considered one single, enormous ancient constellation. Argo Navis, the ship of Jason of the Argonauts.
That's right, but it was just too big, apparently. Too unwieldy for modern astronomy. So astronomers eventually split it into 3 distinct modern constellations. We got Carina, the keel, Vela, the sails, and Puppis, the stern. Carina, for example, is home to Canopus, and Canopus is the second brightest star in the entire night sky. Only Sirius is brighter.
Yeah, Canopus is stunningly bright. And you find other incredible celestial objects down there too, like Dorado, which contains part of the Large Magellanic Cloud, and Tucana contains part of the Small Magellanic Cloud. Now, these aren't just far-off blurs, they're dwarf galaxies, basically smaller companion galaxies to our own Milky Way. And you can see them with the naked eye from the southern hemisphere, like ghostly, detached pieces of our own galaxy. Really amazing sight.
What a fantastic image. Other fascinating southern constellations include Pavo, the peacock, Phoenix, the mythological bird of rebirth rising from the ashes, quite evocative, and Gruth, the crane, recognizable by its long, graceful neck shape. And then there's Octans. Octans is particularly special because it contains the south celestial pole. Much like Ursa Minor contains Polaris in the north, it's the southern hemisphere's constant celestial anchor point. Okay, finally, the atlas rounds out its comprehensive list with a category it calls fainter technical constellations. These might not be as immediately recognizable, maybe to the casual observer, but they tell a truly fascinating story about how humans have meticulously mapped and understood the heavens over time.
Yes, and a key insight here, I think, is how many of these constellations are named after scientific instruments. It directly reflects a pivotal period in history, when cartographers and astronomers were systematically mapping the sky with newly invented tools, telescopes, sextants, things like that. It really raises an interesting question. What do these technical names tell us about the evolution of astronomy itself, how we saw the sky changed?
Indeed. It's like a celestial museum of scientific progress, isn't it? You find names like sextans, the sextant, a navigational instrument, and Alia, the air pump, telescopium, the telescope, obviously, and microscopium, the microscope.
It really highlights a shift, doesn't it? From purely mythological naming to one based on the tools and pursuits of scientific inquiry. Discovery. You also have reticulum, the net, which refers to a reticle, like the crosshairs used in telescopes for precision measurements. And Pegasus, the compass, another navigational tool finding its way into the sky map.
And while many are named after instruments, some in this fainter group have more traditional names but are still, well, faint or unique. For instance, Hydra, the water snake, holds the impressive title for being the largest of all 88 constellations. It just sprawls across an immense area of the sky. Huge.
It's truly vast, takes up a lot of celestial real estate. And then there's Serpens, the serpent, which is unique because it's the only constellation that is actually split into two distinct parts. You have Serpens caput, the head, and Serpens cauda, the tail, and they're separated by another constellation entirely.
Right. And the constellation that divides them is Ophiuchus, the serpent bearer, which is sometimes controversially called the 13th zodiac because, well, it does sit along the ecliptic path, though it's not officially recognized in traditional astrology.
That's a whole other discussion. But yeah, this detailed classification in the atlas really helps us grasp the full, intricate scope of all 88 constellations. And as the atlas notes, some constellations like Scorpius, Sagitta, and Aries, they get mentioned again across categories or just to complete the full count. It really underscores how thoroughly and systematically the sky has been mapped over centuries. It's quite an achievement.
Wow, what a journey through the celestial sphere, seriously. From the ancient and familiar zodiacs that helped us chart time, to the navigational aids of the northern southern skies, those crucial signposts, and finally to those fainter, more technical constellations that sort of mark humanity's scientific progress, how we measured the universe, we've truly taken a deep dive into the 88 constellations.
Yeah, and if we connect all of this to the bigger picture, it's incredible, really, to consider how these patterns, some ancient, some more modern, all human creations in a way, provide a universal language and a profound framework for understanding not just the cosmos, but maybe our own place within its vastness connects us.
You've now got a fantastic overview, a real shortcut, we hope, to being well-informed about the constellations, their stories, their enduring significance. So here's something to think about. As you look up at the night sky, maybe tonight, how might knowing these categories and individual stories actually change the way you perceive those twinkling lights above? Does it transform the seeming chaos into more of a cosmic map, brimming with history, science, and profound meaning? Something to ponder, perhaps, until our next deep dive.